Welcome to Your Thoughts, Your Reality with Michael Cole, the podcast that shines a compassionate light on the journey of veterans battling through life's challenges. Michael is a dual elite certified neuroencoding specialist in coaching and keynote training presentations, dedicated to guiding military veterans as they navigate the intricate pathways of post-deployment life. Join him as we delve into the profound realm of neuroencoding science, empowering these brave individuals to conquer universal battles, procrastination, self-doubt, fear, and more. Together, let's uncover the strength within you to re-engage with families and society, forging a new path forward.
Hello, everybody. So today I have a special guest, super excited. We have Stephen Beardwood. 17 years of military experience, including 7 as an airborne commando and medic. He's a co-founder, we're going to talk about this, super excited, and chair of Veterans House Alliance International, an organization dedicated to helping veterans and supporting them. Stephen is also a talent. I'm gonna have that every once in a while. Stephen is a talented musician, as you can see all the cool stuff back there. We've been talking for about 15 minutes now, just about music and stuff. Using his art to connect and inspire others. His mission is to accomplish what others fail to achieve, which I love that, man. Offering innovative insights into veterans' well-being. And we're going to dive into his upcoming book, Instinctive Measures, and the documentary about Turn. So super excited to have you on. We'll stop talking about playing banjo and mandolin and stuff, and we'll get into it.
We talk about that all day. They just won't get to the other stuff. That's all.
I know, right? So any veteran musicians, stay on. Everybody else just go off now. just playing. So, Stephen, why don't you tell us a little bit more about yourself?
What's there to tell, really? You know, I'm just someone who decided I wanted to do something. I was going to accomplish it. I kind of noticed things when I was younger. I joined the military when I was 17, out of high school. Initially, just as a reservist, but I noticed almost right away I was really good at it. I started getting top candidate on all the courses, you know, and then I did this exercise up in Petawawa. It was a joint exercise with the regular force, and I got tasked with airborne at that time, along with a number of the people that I was serving with. And of course, we all came back going, "Oh, gotta go airborne, right?" No one actioned it. No one. Right? It's like, why aren't they actioning it? It's like, I'm going to die if I stay here. Goodbye. Going to fulfill a dream. So, yeah, I guess I'm a dreamer, and I take action. I commit actions. I'm not a fan of awareness programs, because all they do is show that, oh, look, everyone's now aware that there's a problem. No one has a plan to solve it. You know.
Yeah, I love that stuff, and because it's something that I coach and train on all the time, and use it myself. I don't coach theory. You can have all the knowledge in the world, but what good does it do unless you take that first step, which leads to the next one and creating that momentum. Yeah.
And that's something that we learn through the military. Hesitation kills. You have to make a decision. It doesn't have to be the right decision, but it has to be a decision. Your next decision, if you made a wrong one, will probably correct your course very fast, and hopefully you won't pay too dear a price for the wrong decision. But that's the reason we train, is so that you can make those wrong decisions in training, and then do the exercise again and have success.
Absolutely.
Right?
And yeah, please go ahead.
No, I'm just saying it's the same principles in dealing with health and recovery.
Absolutely. And a 2-degree turn, 2% turn, it literally changes that trajectory of your entire life, whether you're in the military and you're, like you were talking about, or transitioning out, or it's been out for 20 years, whatever the case may be. When you make that decision and you take that action, 2% takes you to a whole different place in a week, a month, a year, 10 years, that you can make those dreams come true, which I think is super important. So
yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Awesome. So before we really dive in, I just want to remind everybody, on the top right-hand corner, there's a blue QR code. So that blue QR code takes you to empowerperformancestrategies.com. For people that are listening on the podcast forums later on, again, that's empowerperformancestrategies.com. There are a couple of books I've written. There's all kinds of resources for veterans and their families, first responders as well. Please go check that out. There's some Facebook groups. Get involved in our community and be part of it. So I just wanted to mention that really quick. So Stefan, you ready to get going?
I'm ready to get going.
So about the banjo, I'm just joking. So can you share some of your experiences as an airborne commando and medic that shaped your understanding and challenges veterans face during the transition to civilian life and after?
Yeah. Being in the Canadian military makes you an expert on adversity. Okay. If you're not paying attention to what's going on in Canada right now, you need to go online and look it up. There is no equipment. There is no money. It is a woke agenda. So it's all about the individual. It's nothing more about teamwork or fighting as a team to go into battle. Like it's gone. So the military I knew, it no longer exists. But the military I knew, and even the one that does exist now, are still experts in teaching you all about adversity, because that's what you're going to face when you join it, especially in Canada. So, and then when you deploy, we deploy without sufficient equipment. So, for example, when I deployed in '92 into Somalia, we had brand new vehicles, but we had no replacement parts. So when we hit the landmines, we had to keep parts from those vehicles to use for the next one.
Wow. Yeah.
We couldn't commit to aid to the locals because we had enough medical stuff supply for 72 hours, and that's all we had for the first month or more. And we would not get our resupply for over a month because we couldn't get it in, right? So if we committed that aid and we got hit, we couldn't support ourselves.
Right.
Right. So all of these things, you start learning how to do things on the fly, how to overcome adversity, right? Because you still have a job to do, and you have to come up with a solution.
Absolutely.
So when you release and you're no longer functioning as a human being like I was, and I mean I was completely non-functioning. I was locked away in a psych ward for over 6 months. I was poisoned with a neurotoxicant, which is mefloquine. That is an anti-malarial drug. And of course, we knew nothing about it at the time. So they decided I had post-traumatic stress disorder, and that my hallucinations and everything was all from what I saw, right? But what I saw was nothing compared to what I experienced when I worked ambulance or anything else, like in training. It was nothing to watch around bounce 3 inches from my face. We're doing a live assault. That's what we got paid for.
Right.
So if I watched around bounce 3 inches from my carrier, that's not going to give me post-traumatic stress disorder. So these are the kind of things. So the biggest struggle, once again, was this adversity that the military placed upon us by not telling us about the drug, by misdiagnosing us. And then they gave me a drug. It was antidepressant, SSRI, and it stated clearly in it, do not use with mefloquine or quinine-based drugs, right? And, a couple weeks later, I was without a relationship. All my kids were gone, and I was locked up for 6 months.
Got it. So the adversity that you, let's call it a skill that you have now because of a lot of that. And of course, I'm sure you've enhanced your skills and, being on the right track and so on. So how has that affected, I mean, you do a lot for military veterans, and thank you so much. How has that adversity kind of affected, or in a good way, obviously, since you've been on the right track and the things that you're doing now? What has that really taught you? And it's just conditioned, or are there more skill sets that you've added to that, I guess, as time went on?
Yeah. So one of the first things I had to accept, and it took 20 years, and had someone been there, I probably could have learned a lot faster.
Yeah.
With a lot less loss.
Yeah, and I think we can all say that, right? I mean, we can all go back. I literally talking to somebody yesterday, if we can just take a second.
Sure.
we literally were talking about yesterday. It was, and I say this and we hear this constantly. Man, if I would have known that 20 years ago, where would I be now? But here's the thing: is where we are now is where we're supposed to be,
That's
right?
right.
Because if something changed and we had, Back to the Future, Michael J. Fox, and we went back in time and did all that stuff, how would life be different potentially for the people that we're helping?
Well, like we spoke briefly about what's going on right in my life just before we got on. So I'm going to
You
bring
did.
that up in just a second, because I think it answers what you just spoke on.
Yeah.
Before I speak on that, the first thing I had to learn was that my personality, who I was, had been amputated,
Mm,
right? And no amount of drug, right, was ever going to provide a new personality,
true. Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Uh,
Absolutely.
I had to rebuild that from scratch.
Hmm.
And so one of the analogies I use is how long does it take to grow a brain, right?
Mm,
The answer is usually about 9 months before it can sustain itself, right? And even then it requires a lot of assistance from an external source for a number of years, right?
yeah.
And then when we get a little bit bigger, we start being able to wear pants. Then we try to put them on. And I have a great memory of and a picture of my brother Kirk. I love telling the story because it's an embarrassment to him. And he's got his underwear on one leg and his shorts on the other. And he's quite proud of himself because he accomplished it. He successfully got his leg into his underwear and his pants, right?
Yeah.
And within a few days to a week, he managed to do both correctly. But even then, mom still had to tell him, you're not wearing that one today, but change your underwear, man. Holy jeez, Kirk. No, like these are the things that we need someone doing this for us, right? We should never enter into recovery or trauma or healing alone.
Mm,
First, right? So the first thing we have to have is the knowledge that we're amputated, right? It may not be physical, especially if it's a mental health, but the skill you had before you no longer have. It doesn't mean you can't rebuild it.
mhm.
It may not be the same. It could be better. Most of my skills are much better today than what I had before.
Love it.
And had I not gone through that, I would not be in the situation where I am today, where I am getting help for my wife.
Yeah.
Uh, she's in hospital right now, diagnosed with stage 4 cancer. Her liver is about 4 times the normal size. And within 24 hours, I have more assistance coming at me than most people will ever have in a lifetime.
It's amazing.
And that's because I am connected to a network.
Yeah. Yeah.
Change the subject now.
Take your time, Stephen. Seriously,
That's
take
okay.
your time. So when you told me this, I literally got chills, and I'm not talking about just on one arm. I mean, like my whole body. It's amazing when you're out there doing good. With Veterans House Alliance International and the things you're doing and the connections, the network that you've created. And I was having this aha moment the other day, just like you, right? It's wow, we're just out here helping people and doing the right thing and being there for other people. And it's amazing the blessings that come to us, even
Yeah,
in the darkest times.
if you really truly are in need of help or want help, then start helping others, because that's how you get it help.
Amen. Amen.
You know?
Yeah. So it's thank you for being vulnerable always, man, and having this conversation because it's not an easy one, and I appreciate you doing it.
Well,
So thank
that
you.
was the second lesson I learned.
Yeah.
If you want to recover, you have to be in a position of vulnerability because you have to accept help. You cannot do it alone,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I mean, if you can understand the concept that a person who's had a leg amputated, right, is given a pair of crutches, a tourniquet, and a painkiller by a doctor and told to go run a marathon, right? And most people would go, "Ah," or the baby is crying, right? Uncontrollable, right? Most people would pick it up, comfort it, feed it, change its diaper, nurture it. The other solution, of course, is you could always put a Band-Aid on the baby's mouth and you won't have to listen to it cry anymore either, right? And that's essentially what we're doing, right? So when we make ourselves vulnerable and ask for help through networking, people who have got the experience, who have gone through the failures, can speed up our learning curve, right? So yesterday I was having a conversation with the oncologist, and there's, I'm not, I have zero faith and zero trust in the medical system up here in Canada. I've been damaged by it far too many times, and they're just a group of narcissists. So you can imagine I was biting my tongue a lot having this conversation.
Sure.
But I did ask a couple key things, and one of the things I asked the doctor was, I said, "What's your position on cannabis?" And she said, "I'm in full support of it. If you want to do that, I will back you 100%." And I was not quite ready for that. And so then we did talk about it a little bit, and what we did is, I said, like, I don't want you to not know what we're doing, and I don't want to not know what you're doing. So I had to put down everything that we're going to give. And all I did, went off the documentaries there that Kim Salteri had done on cannabis. And so, and actually, Kim, who's doing the production about Turn, he's one of the people sending me a package and helping me to connect with who I need to be connected to.
Fantastic.
So, yeah, so I know that she's going to get the right types of cannabis and that kind of stuff. And, so I was talking to the doctor, and it was a very brief conversation. I'm going to write down exactly what I'm giving her, when she's getting it, how she's getting it, right? And then your staff can report that she received it. And I already know that they are not going to do any treatment because their first words were, "She is terminal." So if my wife is alive to be on your podcast in a few weeks' time and feeling much better, or even if in a couple months' time, it will be because of that network, not because of the oncologist. Well, I will give the oncologist credit for backing us.
Yeah. No, and that's great that the communication's open. I mean, I think that's super important, regardless of past and or future, if you will. But if that communication is open, and I think this goes with anything in life, is that communication is open, it's always going to be better, period.
Yeah, and it was the third thing I learned as well. Like I said, everything connects, right?
It does.
It's amazing. You have to have an open conversation. If you don't talk openly, then you're screwed. So even though I will never ever go to another therapy again, ever in my life. You know what I mean? Like, no way. And that's my position. Like I'm digging into that trench, by the way. All right. Yet 2 years ago, I tried psilocybin through one of our wellness camps, and within about a half hour to an hour, I was feeling something. I thought, "Oh my God, this is normal. I'm feeling normal." I remember this feeling. It's been 30 years. How is it I'm feeling normal? Right.
Right.
So this is the so I then had to come home, and then I had to figure out what my dose is going to be. Right. So I had to run an experiment on my own at home, and I didn't want to do that without supports in place because of the high likelihood that I could have a very serious hallucination.
Right. Of course. Yeah. And especially, I'm not going to go into that, but I think it's super important. I'd love to talk to you more, off camera about some of this stuff. Absolutely.
Well, absolutely. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, absolutely. There's some amazing research results and things that are coming out, about these things. So fantastic.
Well, I have no doubt psilocybin will be licensed for use in Canada within 2 to 4 years, probably.
Yeah.
They just opened a clinic, research clinic in next door to us in Kingston. So that's how fast it's moving. The only problem I see is if they don't roll it out properly, there's not going to be any quality control. And that's what they did with marijuana up here too. So now if you want quality controlled marijuana, you have to go through a medical dispensary because that's the only place you're going to get quality, unless you make it your own, right?
Right. Yeah, and I think it's super important with all of it
Yeah.
to have that. So
Yeah.
fantastic.
So anyway, what I was getting at, we got a little bit off topic, but it's still related.
Okay,
Um,
it's organic conversation, like I said.
I know, yeah, because it's still about psilocybin, right?
Yeah,
So I had to run this experiment. I've already been in a position where I took the wrong strain of cannabis and I was out of my mind for 6 hours in the middle of the night, and my wife couldn't do anything, and she was like just beside herself, and I have no memory of it, So I don't need that kind of repeat.
right.
So I went to a therapist, uh, you know. And the only difference was I was the person in control in the office,
Mm, yeah,
right? So when I sat down in the chair and the therapist asked me what I wanted to accomplish, I looked at her, or what I hoped to accomplish through this. I said, absolutely nothing. I said, I'm here for you. I'm here because I need you as a security backup in case I screw up. And she
got it.
kind of like, what what are you doing kind of deal, right?
Right,
And then,
right. Don't be so honest.
I'm going to start dosing mushrooms to see if it'll help improve my ability to concentrate and and sleep and all this other good stuff. And so over the next several weeks, her and I talked on a weekly basis, and she learned a lot about cannabis and mushrooms, and her practice is now going in a whole new direction. And,
Interesting.
yeah, and she was. I know that I'll never use her name, but I know she's trying mushrooms herself, so that she knows what it's like. You
Yeah,
know, and you, it's just like you have to go very slow, and you have to be deliberate on what you do, and you have to have security in place. And so you have to have a team, but you have to pick your team extremely smartly. Like that oncologist with my wife, I would pick her because she's smart enough to listen and to look at something more than just what's licensed.
yeah,
You know, whereas my family doctor didn't even do a proper exam on my wife's abdomen a week ago, which is why she ended up having to go in
right.
an emergency.
Got it.
Um, so my family doctor, I don't have, it's like I only go in there to tell him what I want, right? And then I leave. So
Yeah, and you have to have the people around you that, again, that communication and that trust has to be there. And I've struggled in the United States with some of that too. I do, I'm not going to get into all of it right now, but I do have some good team that I believe in and stuff
yeah.
around our
Well,
family, which is
I,
awesome.
I
But it's
was able, I was able to find a nephrologist because I have atypical type 2 diabetes. My insulin levels are normal, so my sugar should be normal too, but it's
right.
not. It's always high. And it's always high at one time of year only,
Interesting.
right?
I didn't know that was. I didn't realize that was an issue.
No,
Interesting.
neither did the doctors.
Oh, well.
So they're treating me like a type 2 diabetic, and then I was on insulin. I almost died on insulin, and
Yeah.
and then that's when I figured out the diet change, and that was number 4, by the way, was change your diet, right?
Got it.
Because I don't
Got
know
it.
how anyone can expect to heal from anything if they are still poisoning themselves with
Absolutely.
processed food, starch, and sugar,
Absolutely. So
right?
let's talk about this because I know
Yeah.
this is something really important to you. So, as far as diet and nutrition to improve mental and physical health for veterans and so on, what are some tips and thoughts there? We've got about 5 minutes left, and I do want to talk about Veterans House Alliance more as well. Just
Okay, yeah, yeah. So it's really simple. Stop eating crap. If it's processed, if someone else has put it together, don't eat it.
yeah,
Right? If it's got starch and sugar in it, don't eat it. Quinoa has got tons of starch in it. It's a green. Don't eat greens. Right? Don't eat potatoes. Don't eat sweet potatoes. Don't eat bananas. Don't eat fruit. Right? If you want some fruit, have a small piece of fruit. Right? But don't eat fruit. Like I see these people doing the smoothies all the time. It's like crazy, right? Um,
so what is the issue with fruit?
So the issue with fruit is that fruit, it contains sugar,
Of
right?
course.
And all sugar has to be converted and stored as fat before it can be burned,
Got it. Yep.
right? And all starch is equal and converts to sugar and
Of
then
course.
into fat.
It's,
So for every tablespoon of starch, you're getting a tablespoon of sugar,
yeah. Yeah.
right? So the big key is, you eliminate those things, and now you've stopped putting poison into your body.
Yeah.
right? So if a glass is in the sink, the water is dripping, eventually it's going to overflow. Turn the tap off, it'll dry up and be empty,
Yep.
right? And it will never fill again. Right?
And with weight loss, of course, when you don't have the sugars, your body starts using
Less stress.
Yeah,
Less stress. Your body starts processing things, right?
yeah,
And then the plant-based approach to healing. You do not need to be stoned and high and smoking weed 24/7. You need THC, but you can take that at night when you go to bed. You'll get tired and you go to sleep, right? That's your indication that it's time to go to sleep, right? When you get tired after taking your THC. But you can take a CBD with small trace amounts of THC during the day and not be high, right? And it'll reduce that inflammation, and it helps the body heal the systems that actually heal the body, right? Because the reason we get sick is because we damaged the system that heals us,
right.
and that's what we have to repair it first, and it can only be repaired with food.
Yeah, and I'm a big believer in most diseases can be prevented and or eliminated with proper nutrition.
That's right.
Get rid of those sugars, the inflammation, all that stuff starts going away.
My wife had been taking CBD for the past year, but she stopped.
Got it.
Right, and because she'd been having problems, right, but when she stopped, that's when things escalated. Right now, had we known, then we would have increased what she was getting.
Yeah.
Right.
And I didn't realize there was a correlation between those. Interesting. I always, and it's my ignorance to it, to be honest. I always associated the use of cannabis and so forth for especially people with chemo and to help with appetite and those kinds of things.
Cannabis can cure up to 80% of cancers.
Interesting. When we're off screen, or when you have a chance, send me some info on that. I'd like to.
I'll send you Kim's documentaries. They're just amazing. They really are.
Yeah.
Jack's Garage is one of them. These are guys who just they risk jail to get healthy, right? Yeah. Because the system wanted to punish them for not participating in the for-profit model, and I'm not sure this is an exact amount, but I think the actual success on chemo is only roughly 33% from a lot of cancers, so.
Yeah. Thanks for sharing this. And everybody here, do your own research. Look, that's why I always want to learn more. And I think in 5 years, 10 years from now, all this research that's just starting to come out or just being done, it's really gonna be a different game out there.
Now that everyone's not watching TV anymore, and they're watching podcasts instead,
yeah,
the information is going to explode.
Yeah,
I think we're about to have an information explosion. Hopefully,
I'm right there with you. Let's do it. So we only got a couple minutes left. Talk about Veterans House Alliance International. What are you guys doing? What do you guys do?
So what we do is we partner with for-profit corporations to fund not-for-profit programs for veterans. Mm-hmm. So a couple of the partnerships, as an example, Veterans for Healing is a medical grow-up for cannabis. It sells through Aquilitas, but it also pays for doctor's offices in Sydney, Nova Scotia, where veterans can go and have absolutely anything that they need assessed and help with, including getting pensions and prescriptions, whatever, the housing even, you know what I mean, or that kind of stuff. They also, through that, we run the wellness camps. That's where I was supposed to be heading on Thursday. Obviously, I can't go to this year's wellness camp, but I will be there in spirit. The good news is the wellness camp is coming to me. And then we also are partnered with the Disability Channel, another fine example. There we are retraining veterans into media. We are training a crew right now. They will be going out to the Invictus Games next year and covering the Invictus Games as veterans. And we're also working on, we have a couple of different programs that we'll be doing through the the Disability Channel, which is to start reaching more veterans and non-veterans, and start getting changes in dietary beliefs and in health beliefs, that kind of stuff, right? So we're doing shows based on that stuff. And so there's one which is just veteran, and then there's 2 more which include veterans.
Awesome. Absolutely fantastic. Thank you for what you're doing out there. I truly, truly mean that. It's important to just get all that information out. And, and again, we're not a medical podcast. We're not, these are all just information of people talking and going through things. So do your research.
This is your body. This is your body healing itself.
Yeah.
Just letting it
go. Amen. So really quick, how do people reach you?
Info@veteranshouse.ca or our website, www.veteranshouse.ca. There is a Veterans House Canada. That is not us. We are Veterans House Alliance International. We don't have our new website coming up. And actually, it's a small funny story. We granted the name Veterans House Canada to the other organization.
Yeah, love it, love it. And I love my wife just popped up. Yeah. Do your own research, figure out what's right for you, but keep an open mind. Amen. Because that's the important part. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, my beautiful wife. I almost said thank you, beautiful, but I didn't. You're a good-looking guy, Stephen, but I didn't want any miscommunication there.
I still assumed it was me.
Amen, man. So if we can, really quick, 3 tips to get veterans and their families further faster.
Don't ever disconnect. When you leave the military, stay connected.
Yes.
If you have disconnected, reconnect immediately.
Yeah.
Right? And have the difficult, uncomfortable conversations. If you are having a conversation and you're in full agreement like we are, you're not being productive. You need to have someone who's in disagreement so that you can understand why. So I had an Air Force guy. He was as left as they come, and I was as right. And him and I would have coffee every morning, and the wives would say, "Oh, you're fighting again." It's like, no, we're just actually we actually enjoy each other's company. We're having conversations, and we learn more from each other.
Yeah. That's how you learn. You don't learn from things being perfect and success unless you analyze the success.
Yeah.
You learn from your failures. You learn from some of that conflict if you're in the right mindset to do that.
If you're willing to, you have to be willing to.
Absolutely, man.
Someone's wife told me that just a little while ago.
Yeah, fantastic, man. So, hey, thank you for being on the show. Of course, time is the most precious resource we have. As human beings, thank you for spending this time. I know you got a lot going on in your life, and I'm honored, honestly, that you spent the time, man. I truly, truly am. So thank you.
My pleasure. Thank you.
All right, guys. And on that note, we are out of here. Bye, everybody.
Thank you for joining us on another insightful journey of Your Thoughts, Your Reality podcast with your host, Michael Cole. We hope the conversation sparked some thoughts that resonate with you. To dive deeper into empowering your thoughts and enhancing your reality, visit empowerperformancestrategies.com. Remember, your thoughts shape your reality, so make them count. Until next time, stay inspired and keep creating the reality you desire. Catch you on the next episode.